Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. So yesterday I talked about fitness myths. So today I'm going to talk about nutrition myths, and that's probably what's got people even more confused than fitness stuff is the nutrition stuff, because there is a lot of conflicting information out there regarding nutrition. And a lot of it is driven by products that are trying to get your money by confusing you and trying to make you think that things that are healthy are actually unhealthy, and that you should be using their product because they've made it into a healthier option. So it just gets really, really confusing. So I thought I would talk about a few of the more common nutrition myths and see if I can help clear things up for you. I've been studying nutrition for a while. I took a really good course years ago, and then I'm always brushing up on the newest information, so I keep on top of that. Part of me being able to be a personal trainer and health professional is keeping up my information, keeping current with all the latest stuff so that I can share that with my clients. So that's why I like to share this with you, so I can share some truths with you and help you understand a little bit better. And nutrition especially, you'll be amazed at how simple it really can be. And you'll be amazed by that because the media makes you think that it's super, super complicated. You know, one day this thing is good for you, the next day it's bad for you, and it gets really frustrating. So here are some common ones. I've got about 6 of them to talk about, and hopefully it helps to clear some things up. So myth number 1, and this is one that really gets to me because I fell for this. Myth number 1 is that fat makes you fat. So fat got a really bad rap over the years. We were told that fat makes you fat. So what did we do? We cut fat out of our diet, and what happened? The obesity rate continued to rise to shocking levels. People were becoming diabetic all over the place. People's health was just going downhill. And it's because we cut out a very important macronutrient. We need fat in our bodies. Our bodies require fat in order to operate properly. So when you cut out something your body needs, there's going to be trouble. And the problem is that all these companies jumped on this and started making fat-free this and low-fat that, and got people to buy their stuff saying, oh, well, it's fat-free, so you can eat as much as you want and you'll never get fat. And we fell for it, and we bought this crap, just processed crap, and we became very unhealthy. So what happens is when you have a natural food that naturally has fat in it, if the manufacturer goes and removes that fat to make it fat-free, well, they have to do something to make it palatable, which means they're going to have to add sugar and other chemicals so that people will actually eat it and enjoy it. Because fat is what gives food its texture and taste. So why would you take something that's natural and wreck it and then put it in your body and expect to have good results from that? But you know, we all fell for it. It was a very compelling argument that fat makes you fat. It's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But unfortunately, what we didn't realize is that our bodies require healthy fats, healthy natural fats, and even saturated fats. So saturated fats got a really bad reputation as well, but saturated fats like butter, they have a place in your diet. You just have to watch your portion sizes. Butter is perfectly fine to consume. It is way better, 100 times better than margarine. And that's what I was brought up on, because my parents thought, oh, well, margarine is lower in fat and it's healthy and blah, blah, blah. But it's just manufactured crap. You might as well be putting like plastic into your body or something. So you just look for natural sources. Make sure the fat that you're eating is naturally occurring in that food. Don't try to find the same food that's had the fat removed, because again, they've just messed with something that's natural. And our bodies are best equipped to break down and use natural foods, not stuff that's been manipulated in the lab. So natural fats, just watch the portion sizes, because fat is higher in calories. So that's the only issue with fat. It is higher in calories, so you just have to watch your portion sizes. Hey Angel, how's it going? Yeah, I know it is confusing, healthy fats, but just think natural sources. So like avocados, nuts, seeds, butter, you know, things that actually occur in nature. They can go in your body. They're good. Just watching the portion sizes. So the next one, the next myth, carbs make you fat. All right, so now carbs are the ones that you're supposed to avoid. And a lot of people did it, and they cut carbs out of their diet. And a lot of people thought it was the best way to go because they did lose weight, but the way they were doing it was just not in a healthy way. I mean, low carb is fine. Some people go super low carb to get their bodies into ketosis, and that has some great benefits for the body. It's not something I'm going to talk about today because that's a whole topic on its own. But a lot of people became carb phobic where they shouldn't have. So carbs supply us with energy, and they supply us with certain nutrients. It's just where you're getting your carbs from. So in other words, you want to get your carbs from natural sources such as minimally processed grains, and also fruits and vegetables. So you can eat potatoes, yay, you can eat rice, you can eat oatmeal. Just make sure that it's minimally processed. A key thing to look for when you're buying oatmeal is make sure the oatmeal that you're buying takes longer than 5 minutes to cook. If it's the quick cooking instant kind, it's because it's been stripped of a whole bunch of stuff, and that's why it cooks so fast, because it's basically just goo. So your oatmeal should have to cook for 20 to 25 minutes. So steel cut oats are the best ones to go for because they are processed the least of all the oats. And rice, you know, brown rice, even white rice is okay. Like, watch your portion sizes. Potatoes, you can have potatoes, you guys. Potatoes are good for you, but again, portion, right? So you just have to watch your portions, and don't go crazy on them. So carbs, again, another very important macronutrient that we need in our diet in certain amounts. As I said, some people go super, super low because they want to get into ketosis, and that's a great way to go for some people. Not for everyone, but some people, that's a great way to go. But don't be afraid of carbs. You can have carbs in your diet. It's fine. How many carbs are you supposed to have in a meal? So typically a serving of rice would be like about a half a cup of rice. So it's not a lot. It's going to look like a small amount if you're used to having more. But if you have half a cup with your meal, you'll notice that it's enough to fill you up. You don't need more than that. So that's where portion sizes are really important, because we have really gotten used to seeing huge portion sizes, thinking that we're supposed to eat that much, and really we're eating way more than we need to. And it was a bit of an eye-opener for myself when I started training for this competition, because all of a sudden I had to go back to weighing and measuring absolutely everything, because I have a certain number of macronutrients I'm supposed to have every single day. So I went back to getting out that half a cup to measure out my food and weighing things on the kitchen scale. And what I realized was my portion sizes had crept up to, you know, almost double of what they should have been. And once I started following my competition diet and started portioning things out, I found that even though it looked like a lot less food, it was really enough. It was perfect. I didn't feel full. I didn't feel hungry. It was just the right amount for me. And I would suggest to anybody who is concerned about portion sizes, go for like at least a week and weigh and measure everything, just to kind of get an idea of what that looks like, because we forget what it looks like, and portions start to get bigger and bigger and we don't even realize it. So go back to weighing and measuring, even for 3 days in a row, just to get an idea of what it's supposed to look like. I've been doing it for months now, and to tell you the truth, I love it. I love knowing that I'm having the amount that I need. I'm not having too much, I'm not having too little, no guessing. I'm just having the right amount per meal, and that's kind of a good thing to know. So yeah, I highly suggest going back to weighing and measuring. And I know it's a pain in the butt. Oh, I know. But it is really good to have those numbers. And like I said, even if you just do it for a few days and just get used to what proper portions look like on a plate, that's going to help out a lot. Myth number 3. Too much protein can damage your kidneys. So I remember hearing about this. I remember hearing that, you know, you can have too much protein and people are going crazy with protein. They're doing damage to their kidneys. But really, unless you already have kidney disease, you don't really have to worry about it. So if you have kidney disease, then yes, you need to cut back on protein. You talk to your doctor about that. If you are a healthy, if you're a healthy person, you don't have any issues with your kidneys, you don't have to worry about getting too much protein. And this is not to say that you can't take it to the extreme, because people do take it to the extreme, which is probably why this myth started in the first place. Somebody, taking way too much protein, like more protein than any normal person ever would, and had an issue with it, and that's what causes these myths. But a healthy adult can have about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's per pound, not per kilogram, per pound. I actually, because of my workouts and stuff like that, because I'm quite active, I'm more around 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. And that's fine. I don't have any issues with my kidneys. If anything, it actually improved my health. And I don't know if you know this, but a higher protein intake actually lowers blood pressure and helps to fight type 2 diabetes. So it is good to get a good amount of protein. And what the food guides suggest, they're so outdated and they're just so wrong. It's way too low. So 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a safe amount to have, and even a little more than that is not going to do any harm. But again, if you have kidney disease, if you have kidney issues, different story. You got to talk to your doctor and find out, okay? And they did do studies on several athletes who consume high protein diets, and it was shown to be perfectly safe. There's a link in my blog to a study that shows that. So if you're interested in reading up on that, you can go to my blog, holyfit.com, or you can Google it. That works too. All right, myth number 4, and this is probably one of my other most irritating ones. People who say that all calories are equal. A calorie is a calorie, calories in versus calories out, and all of that. And okay, take it to the very basics. If you're eating a lower amount of calories, then okay, there might be some weight loss. If you're burning more calories than you're taking in, then yes, there's weight loss. But here's something to think about. Take 2 people. One person is eating 2,000 calories a day of healthy whole foods. The other person is eating 2,000 calories a day, same amount of calories, but they're eating highly processed junk food. You're going to have 2 very different looking people, okay? So you're going to have 2 very different people with very different issues, and the one eating the junk food, they're not going to be a very happy person. So it does matter where you get your calories from. You can't just eat, a certain amount of calories per day, put yourself on a low-calorie diet and eat a bunch of crap and say, oh, well, I stayed within my calorie count, I'm fine. No, you're not, because it's not just about calories. It's the different metabolic pathway that different foods take in your body. It's about what hormones are affected by certain foods in your body. So you can't just like make it as simple as a calorie is a calorie. It's so much more complicated than that. So please don't fall for that. And I have in the past, when I first started dieting, I just was trying to stay within a certain number of calories, and I didn't care where the food was coming from. Like if I could fit ice cream into my day because it fit into my calories, I would do that. Do you think that ice cream was doing me any good? No, it was causing inflammation and affecting my asthma and making me feel like crap. So it does matter where your calories come from. Bottom line, that's, you have to have the macronutrient, all the macronutrients in your diet. You have to have the right amount of nutrients, because if you are lacking nutrients, what your body does is it will try to get you to eat more until you get the right amount of nutrients. So that's why, when you're eating junk food, you can consume a huge amount of calories and it doesn't fill you up. And that's the reason why, is because the junk food is missing nutrients. So your body is driving you to eat more of this junk you're eating because your body's still requiring more nutrients. It didn't get enough from what you already ate. So it just drives you to eat more and more. So next thing you know, you're consuming like a ton of food and you're not getting the right nutrients, and the excess is getting stored as fat. So you have to be looking at where your calories are coming from, bottom line. So if you need help with that, you can message me. I can help you out with that. So just as an example here, different macronutrients and junk food. So if you are eating a diet that's high in protein, that can actually increase your metabolic rate, and it can also reduce your appetite. If you're eating highly processed foods and foods that are high in sugar, that causes that blood sugar spike and then that big drop, which causes you to crash. You feel really hungry, you feel shaky, you feel tired. So that's an example of, you know, the wrong calories versus the right calories. So yeah, I could go on, but I won't. Myth number five, only people with celiac should avoid gluten. So people with celiac have a very severe gluten intolerance, and they have to avoid gluten in order to avoid becoming very ill. I have a friend who's celiac, and if she has a gluten-free sandwich that's been heated up in an oven where a regular sandwich was recently heated up, she will be sick for a week. So it's really serious for people who are celiac. But they're not the only ones that should avoid gluten. A lot of us have a degree of gluten intolerance and we don't even realize it. So we don't realize that certain symptoms, such as, you know, that low-grade inflammation in your body is being caused by eating gluten. So if you're like, for myself, I know I've had gluten when I notice that my breathing's a little bit tight because I'm asthmatic. So if I have gluten, it causes a bit of inflammation in my body, and the first place that I notice it is my breathing. You might notice it somewhere else, like sore, achy joints. So that's inflammation being caused probably by gluten. So most people, I would say the majority of people are probably, you know, somewhat gluten intolerant and should be looking at getting gluten out of their diet. At least try it, you know, see if you feel better by cutting out gluten. And another interesting study, and there is a link to the study as well in my blog if you want to check it out, has shown that gluten-free diets can actually reduce the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. That I knew because I have a friend who suffers with that. It can also reduce the symptoms of schizophrenia, autism, and epilepsy. So that just goes to show, you know, the degree of problems that gluten can cause in your body. So it's worth checking out. It's worth trying it out. Another place for myself, I notice that if I have bread or anything, I get these little tiny bumps on my arms. So I used to always wonder what that was, and I had read somewhere that it's caused by having gluten. So when I cut out gluten, I noticed that went smooth. And then if I happen to have bread, within the next few days, I get those little bumps back again. So that's another little trigger, another little thing there that gluten does to me. So it's kind of, you know, take note of stuff like that and try cutting out gluten and see if things improve. Keep in mind though, you should be searching out foods that are naturally gluten-free, such as fruits, vegetables, meat, and, you know, animal protein. Don't go for the gluten-free products that they make. Okay, gluten-free junk food is still junk food. It doesn't matter that it's gluten-free, it's still junk food. So don't put highly processed crap in your body because it's gluten-free, because that's another thing that manufacturers do, food manufacturers do. They'll know that everyone's all excited about being gluten-free, so they're going to push that on their product. It's like, oh, this product is gluten-free, eat our gluten-free potato chips. And it's not healthy, it's still crap. So, you know, watch out for traps like that. Look for natural foods. And then the last one I'm going to talk about, the myth that one diet fits all. You know, if that were true, I would find out what that diet is, I would give it to all my clients, and I'd probably be rich. But one diet does not fit every single person. I get asked quite a bit what my diet is. People are curious because I'm a health and fitness professional, and I've worked hard to take care of my body and give it what it needs. So I get asked quite often what I eat, and I'm happy to tell people, but they have to realize that just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for them. And it took me a long time to figure out what works for me. So I had to try out a whole bunch of different things before I found something that worked for me, that gave me energy, that had my body operating the way I wanted my body to operate. It had me feeling good, had my mind feeling good. So that took a lot of trial and error. Everyone has different genetics and different food sensitivities. So, you know, what works for one person won't work for another person. But I highly recommend trying out different things. So, for instance, trying out a gluten-free diet. Maybe even trying out a ketosis style diet where you're cutting your carbs down really low. Try being a vegetarian. If you eat meat right now, maybe try being a vegetarian for a while, see what happens. I tried it, didn't work. Vegetarian was not a good option for me. But try different things and see what works. And while you're doing this, while you're trying different things, keep a really good detailed diary of what's happening. So keep a diary of the foods you're eating and keep a diary of how you're feeling. And if you notice things coming up, you're feeling lethargic, then maybe try cutting out a certain food. If that doesn't work, bring that food back to your diet, cut out a different food. If that works, then you know what food was causing you to feel lethargic all the time. So a lot of trial and error. It's hard to know exactly what your body needs, but once you figure it out, you feel great. I mean, it's awesome. It's so worth the time and the effort. And it probably took me a good year or so of playing around with different food plans and different macronutrients and stuff like that, like different amounts of the macronutrients to see what really worked well for me. So I put in that time and effort, and let me tell you, it was so worth it. You know, my body felt better, my brain felt better, my mood was better, depression and anxiety went away. So totally worth putting in the time and effort to figure out what fuel your body operates best on. But if it was as easy as copying someone's diet, you know, everyone would be very healthy and very fit, but it's not that easy. It takes a lot of time and effort. So that's it. So with your nutrition, you guys, something to keep in mind is just keep it simple. You know, eat real foods, eat foods that actually occur in nature. So in other words, imagine that you have to hunt and gather all of your food. So you have to go out your door and you have to find food, and there's no grocery stores, there's no convenience stores. You have to find food to eat. So what do you find out in nature? You know, so think about it that way. If it's been tampered with in any way, for instance, if they've taken something like bacon and made it fat-free, that's not going to be a healthy option. So, you know, go for as natural as possible and just avoid the stuff that's been processed. You'll feel so much better. Your energy's going to be better, your mood's going to be better. Totally worth cutting that crap out. And if you've been eating processed foods, it's going to be tough to cut them out. I'm telling you right now, it's not an easy road. They make these foods addictive, so they intentionally make them addictive. So keep that in mind. So you are addicted to something, and if you're going to cut it out, that means you're going to go through some discomfort, but just, you know, get through it, fight through it, and you'll be a lot happier in the end. But you will go through some withdrawals. You might go through headaches. You're going to go through mood swings. Maybe let your friends and family know what you're doing, and maybe keep a little space for a little while. But like I said, it's totally worth it. And you're going to get some pretty big cravings in the beginning, but if you can just distract yourself and get through that, once you're through it, those cravings start to subside. And another great thing too, when you stop eating junk food, is your taste buds become more sensitive again. So if you've been eating a lot of junk, it kind of desensitizes your taste buds a bit. That's why when you start eating healthy foods, you think it all tastes bland and it all tastes gross. But it doesn't take too long before you get that sensitivity back, and you'll taste foods for what they actually are, and you'll grow to really appreciate natural foods. And when you try the junk again, it's going to taste horrible to you. So give it a try. If I can help you out at all, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you out, because it's a little bit of a rough ride when you first start cutting stuff out, but worth it. So I gotta run. I gotta get to the gym and then earn my protein shake. I think I'm doing legs today. Should be fun. So yeah, any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you want to chat more and you want to message me privately, always feel free to do that. I'm happy to chat with you. And I'll talk to you again really soon. Have an awesome day.